All right, what's up, Algebra 2? All right, so we are solving radical equations in this lesson. All right, so we're going to start off by isolating the radical. All right, so to isolate that radical here, that means we want to move this 4 over here by subtracting 4 from both sides. So we got 3, and then we're left with the square root of 2x plus 5. All right, now the next thing we want to do is we want to get rid of that radical by squaring it. But whatever I square on this side, I have to square on this side. So basically this square right here, it gets rid of that radical sign, and we're just left with everything that's under the radical there, okay? And now we just solve. So we subtract 5, and we're left with 2x equals 4. And then x equals 2. Okay, so if we plug this, if we check our work here, we've got forgot the plus 4 right there. Plus 4 equals 7. Okay, so basically what you have is you have the square root of 4 plus 5 plus 4 equals 7. Well, that's the square root of 9, which is 3. And that checks out, okay? So if it checks out, that means it has a solution. It also, another way we can say this is it has roots, okay? It has roots. All right, let's look at another one. They don't all have a solution. They don't all have roots, all right? So let's try this one. So we subtract 4 from both sides. Okay, we're left with, over here, we're left with the square root of x minus 1, and over here, we're left with negative 4. Okay, so we go ahead and we square both sides, and that leaves us with x minus 1 equals 16. Okay, all right. So now we add 1 to both sides. We have x equals 17. Okay, so, but what we have to do is we have to check this and see if it actually checks out. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and plug that in. So that's 17 minus 1 plus 4. That's the square root of 17 minus 1 plus 4 equals. Let me make sure I'm looking at the right problem real quick. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, that's the right problem. Okay. So what happens here? The original equation had 0 there. Okay. So now you have the square root. So this gives you the square root of 16, which is 4, plus 4 equals 0. Well, 8 does not equal 0. So that means that there's no solution, or you could say there's no roots. Okay. All right, let's look at one more here. Okay, now this one's a little bit different. We treat these radicals. So we have 2 times the square root of x, and we have the square root of x. So we treat this just like if this was 2a and a. That means we can combine them to give us 3a, right? Okay, so we can actually go ahead and we can combine this over here. Oops, get back in focus. All right, so that basically totally eliminates that, and we're left with 7. And then we have, okay, so this is 1 times the square root of x. This gives us 3 times the square root of x plus 1. Okay, now we want to isolate the radical, okay? So we're going to subtract 1 here, subtract 1 here. That gives us 6, so 3 times the square root of x. Okay? All right. Now, we want to go ahead and we can divide both sides by 3, cancel that out, and that just leaves us with the square root of x equals 2. Okay? So how are we going to get rid of this radical sign? Well, just like we did in the last one. We're going to square both sides. So when we square this radical, it eliminates the radical sign, leaves us with x. So if x equals 4, okay? So let's go back to the original equation, okay? So we said x equals 4. All right, so the original equation was the square root of x, which we said is 4, plus 1 equals 7 minus 2 times the square root of 4. So all I've done is just plugged in a 4 for every x in there, okay? All right, so this gives me 2 plus 1. This gives me 3 on this side. All right, and over here, I've got, well, the square root of 4 is 2. So that's negative 2 times 2 gives me negative 4. So 7 minus 4 is 3. 3 equals 3.